started during my studies, where we were a team trying to build an ambitious AR multiplayer strategy game on a hex grid. The scope was huge. We sat down and said everybody makes a small prototype or a concept, and after the weekend we show each other the concepts and then decide. I always had the feeling that games rely too much on numbers going up and up and up, and I wanted a different approach on that. I remember sitting down the weekend in a trance-like state. I was obsessed with the math. I discovered if you link stats together, it creates these weird and cool choices for the player. Then we sat down, we tested our projects. I made a paper prototype. I acted as the computer, doing the math with a calculator, simulated simultaneous turns while one player was closing their eyes, the other one pointed the move, then I was moving the other one's keys. That went well. I remember that artists immediately had an idea of what that scenario they just played was. Like, for example, an assassin, he was changing stats to a moving unit with high damage, and then he sneaked up to kill the unit in one go, and so on. The designers were like, okay, that is fun. One programmer even said this is brilliant, and that was like sugar in my mouth. I don't know how to say that. The thing was, this project was a huge project with all the surrounding stuff like multiplayer AR. The programmers couldn't make it a whole thing. The designers were making a prototype to pre-balance all the stuff, and that was based on the paper prototype. It was one map. We played it like D&D strategy game. I don't know, something like that. It was quite cool, but the semester ended and everybody was busy with other stuff, so we didn't really continue with that project. Chapter 2, the spreadsheet phase. I had free time thinking. I remembered that game and I still was convinced that there is something with it. So I made the paper prototype and enhanced player input, made a spreadsheet where I put all the numbers and the calculations inside, and you just putting in the numbers, how to change it and so on. And then it would put out a damage number. That I playtested with friends until one friend said, Flo, just let's make that a digital prototype. That will be way easier to make all the calculations, because one session was like an hour to play. So, said done, we sat down and spent weekends building that multiplayer simultaneous turn prototype, and I had no non-existing programming skills, so I was very relieved that someone was helping me. We put it on itch.io. It was fun, we tested it a few times, but it had multiple problems. For one, if one player got an advantage, if the other one was not able to immediately bounce back. So it was very snowbally. And the other problem was that the numbers were too high. It was like over 100 maximum health and stuff like that. So it was very hard to have an idea on how much damage would be outputted. Another problem was that there were too many changes in the wheel. Therefore, it took a long time until you had the final solution to put your wheel together and your stats. It didn't find any traction on itch.io, so it was like, yeah, okay, we leave that project again. But I was not fully convinced that that thing is dead. So, chapter 3. It was like 1 year ago. I was playing at a friend's place, Tactical Breach Wizards. Suddenly I had like this concept in my back again. Then I talked with my friend about that thing. He was like, yeah, keep it simple, make it single player, try a square grid. He said like that you can basically do on your own as well. That shouldn't be that hard to make a prototype out of that. And then I was like, okay, I don't need a massive team, I don't need a multiplayer server, I just need the core mechanics and learn programming. So I decided I'm programming this on my own. I started with Godot, and within 5 months I had a prototype that was really fun. So I had a playtester play it for 5 hours, even with that low amount of levels and all that stuff. It was great. So what we can do now is, for example, we make a range damage together, and health and initiative sounds good. Movement and attacks, okay. And then we select the level. I can also read the tutorial here, kind of. Then we load a bit, but I don't have a loading screen yet. Exactly, and we have a whole overworked theming. And the fish have different stats, and we can spawn our units now. So what we can do, we can spawn everywhere, and we can of course spawn on top of other units. And there's a bug, nice, but when we spawn on other units, they get basically knocked back, and they get knocked back in any direction, really. If there's no wall or something, then they get knocked back in every direction. And yeah, and then we can, how it was, we can skill our units. For example, let's make a tank out of that unit, and we can add skills to that unit, for example 1 knockback, and we can give units blocks. So for example, now it blocks 1 damage. And then we have our battle log, where we can see everything that happens. And we can also, wait, let me show by let me show. Okay, we can, enemies destroy the map, and we also destroy the map, and we have like map health. The map currently has 99% of 100, and the tipping point is 90%. So if the map goes down to 0%, oh, let's reset that, and let's go with range and damage, and here as well, range and damage. Yeah, we can, when the map falls over that tipping point, then you lose as well. So you always want to protect the map as well. So here we go, zack zack, and we won.